Hello everyone and welcome back to English and Beyond. I am CJ Roy and in today's class we will learn simple present tense, how to use it correctly with examples and explanations. So without wasting any time, let's get started with today's lesson. But before we actually dive into our real topic, let me just explain to you some of the prerequisites that are required for someone who learns tenses. And now, what are these prerequisites? They are persons and numbers in English. We have three persons in English, and we have their numbers as well. By number, we mean singular and plural. Singular for one, and plural for more than one. So we have first person, second person, third persons, three persons. And we have their numbers as well. These persons can be either singular or plural. So first person singular is I and plural we. Second person singular is you and plural also is you. And third person we have singulars, three of them. He, she, it. He masculine, she feminine, it for neutral gender. And then third person plural we have they. So once again, three persons. First person, I, we. Second person, you. Third person, he, she, it, and plural, they. Now, why do we learn these persons and numbers? Because perhaps you know that in English, every sentence has got three forms. First is subject, then verb, then object. S plus V plus O. A minimum required for a sentence to be a sentence, we need to have a subject and a verb. So every sentence that we speak, that we make, starts with a subject. Mostly subject is the doer of the action and verb is the act or the action done by the subject. So we have S plus V plus O. Now these subjects could be any noun. There are different types of noun. It could be any noun. Or instead of it, we use pronouns. And these are the pronouns I just spoke to you about. I, we, you, he, she, it, and they. So these pronouns are used instead of noun. They stand for noun. So a subject or rather a sentence always begins with a subject. And then comes verb. And according to the subject, according to its number, that is if the subject is singular or if the subject is plural, then the verb that comes next keep changing. That is what actually tense is. In tense, we are just going to learn about the verb changing its forms according to the subject, according to the person, first, second, third person, and according to their numbers. Either these first, second, third, they are singular or plural. According to these parameters, the verbs keep changing. This is what tense is all about. Next, I would like to tell you about verbs. Just now I told you about verbs, and we have mainly two types of verbs here. One is the main verb, other one is the auxiliary verb. By auxiliary, we mean helping verb. These simple, small verbs, they help the main verbs to modify their meanings. So let us just look at the auxiliary verbs, which we often use in a sentence. When we learn tenses, we will learn about these. But before that, I'm just telling you what these auxiliary verbs are. First and foremost, we have the primary auxiliary verb. And the main auxiliary verb under the primary is the verb be, be, be. Now this is a very important verb. This verb we often use in almost all the sentences that we make. So be has got, or rather every verb has got three forms. First is V1, that is present form. Second V2, that is past form. And next is V3, it is past participle. Similarly, the auxiliary verbs also have V1, V2, V3. Now this particular verb that I am talking about, that is be. Be has got three different forms in the present tense, in the V1 form. So be could be is, am, or are. Is, am, are. V1, present form of the auxiliary verb be. Now, when we come to past tense, that is V2, the be, is, am, are is changed to was and were. Was and were. And past participle, third form V3, we have been. So this is what be, is, am, are, was, were, been. The next primary auxiliary verb we have and has, or do and does. And have, has, V2 form had, do, does, V2 form did. These are auxiliary we are speaking about. Next we have modal auxiliaries. Please note the spelling M-O-D-A-L, not E-L, modal auxiliaries. So here we have will, shall, can, may, must, ought to, some of the modal auxiliaries. Will change into would, shall, should, can, could, may, might into V2 form, that is a past form. Next we have to, has to, had to. I have to go, he had to do it. Now these have to, has to, had to, these auxiliary verbs we consider them as semi-modal. Semi-modals they are. So these are the auxiliary verbs. Once again, be, which is very important. So be has got different forms. Present is, am, are, past was, were, and past participle been. Yes, next I would like to talk about the main verbs. So the main verbs, we have got regular forms and irregular forms. So this is something we will have to learn, and later on in our classes I will be giving you a list of some of the irregular verbs. So what are these regular verbs? Again, every verb has got three forms, V1, V2, V3. In different tenses we use different forms of the verb. So that is what we learn in tenses. Now coming to regular verbs, I have given some samples here, just an example so that you understand what's what. Write, wrote, written. Come, came, come. Cut, cut, cut. Send, sent, sent. And these are irregular. Why? Because they keep changing their forms in V1, V2 and V3. And cut, 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 put, put, put. These are all no change. It is the same in the V1, V2 and V3 forms here. Some V2 and V3 are same. So we have got such irregular forms here. And later I will give you a list of such verbs. Now coming to regular verbs. Regular verbs, I mean verbs which have their V2 and V3 forms by adding ed or d. For example, ask, asked, asked. Play, played, played. Jump, jumped, jumped. Work, worked, worked. So ed, they are regular. They have either V1, V2 and V3 forms ending in ed or simply d here. So these are the two types of verbs, regular and irregular verbs. Yes, now here we come to the main part, the main verb, or rather the tense that we are going to learn here. So we are starting with simple present tense. Let me just tell you, and I am sure that most of you know, that tenses could be broadly divided into three: present tense, past tense, and future tense. Now each of these tenses are again divided into simple present, present continuous, present perfect continuous. Similarly, past and then future. So we have simple or indefinite, then we have continuous or progressive, and then we have perfect, and the last one, fourth one, perfect continuous tense. So we have this in all three tenses, present, past, and future. So the first one, present tense. And in the present tense, the first one is simple present tense. We are going to learn about simple present tense today. Not the full simple present tense, just half of that simple present tense we will be learning today. Particularly, we will be learning simple present tense affirmative sentences and simple present tense negative sentences. So let's come to simple present affirmative. Affirmative, when I say, you know that a sentence which does not have any negative word like no, not, nothing, never. These are some of the negative words. And negative, of course, one of these words will be there, that is negative. So let us learn how to form or how to frame a sentence in the simple present tense in the affirmative form. This is what we do with all the tenses that we are going to learn. So initially you will have some time, you will take some time to understand this one. So once you understand the first tense, then all tenses follow the same pattern. The only difference is the verbs, both auxiliary and main verb in those sentences keep changing according to the person, according to the number, singular, plural, and according to the tense. This is what we learn in tenses. So let me take the first person, singular, that is I. First person, I, that is singular. So when you make a sentence in the first person, in the simple present tense, subject first, that is I. I have written there subject first, and the verb is write. That's an action word. We are doing something. The subject is doing something. I am doing something. What am I doing? I'm writing here. So I write. So a letter every day. A letter is the object, write is the verb, and I is the subject. So naturally that is the form. So I write a letter. What did you notice here? First I, we are speaking about simple present tense affirmative. First I, after I, we use the main verb, any main verb. We use the V1 form, that is write here. I'll be using this verb write, wrote, written, this particular verb throughout all the tenses so that you will not have confusion. That is the reason. Plus, we know that write, wrote, written, it's an irregular form. So naturally, in which tense, which form is used, you will know. If I say cut, 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 then all verbs look alike. We don't know which form, V1, V2, V3, in which tense we use. So I have selected this sample as write. So the meaning may not come in a sentence everywhere very clearly. Doesn't matter. This is just to make you understand how a tense is formed. So first person, I, V1 form. So I write a letter. I eat every day. I sleep. So you replace this write with any verb, but it should be in the V1 form. I write a letter. I eat every day. I sleep at 10 o'clock. I study very well. I sing well. So all these are sentences. Now you can make with first person singular, you can make hundreds of sentences now. It only the verbs you need to learn, and each time you replace a verb with another one and you get another meaning. That is what happens. Next is second person we come to, and second person, you, we know, both singular and plural. So there is no problem. It's so easy. We don't have to worry about numbers because the number is either singular or plural, but the construction, the format is always the same. There is no change in the verb. So you write a letter every day. That is the form. You write. First, I write a letter every day. You write a letter. Now we come to third person. Now here there is some problem. You should be very extremely careful here. If you see great people, even educated people, when they speak English, they keep making, they look like silly mistakes, but serious mistakes. Now once you understand this one, you will never make such mistakes. They are silly but serious. So that what is it? Third person whenever we use singulars. I said we have three there. That is he, she, it. When you start a sentence with he, she, it, or instead of he, if you use Jack, or Mary, if you use or Sita, if you use, no, it's okay, fine. But they are nouns. Instead of nouns, we are using he, she, it in our example here. So whenever third person singular, it could be anyone, in either noun or pronoun. You need to remember one thing here. And what is that? You need to add an extra S, the letter S, with whatever may be the main verb. So in our example here, write. So here, write becomes writes. So how it will be read? He writes a letter every day. Or else she writes a letter every day. Or else it writes a letter every day. So instead of he, I can use my son writes a letter every day. Instead of she, I can say Smita writes a letter every day. Right? So third person singulars, remember you need to use add an extra S, the letter S to the main verb. So it could be any verb. She sleeps every day at 10 o'clock. He studies well for his examinations. My father shouts at, whatever. So you can replace the verb with any verb. But remember, when you use in the simple present tense, affirmative statements, whatever may be the verb, you need to add an S to that. That's the biggest change. And next, we come to first person plural. First person plural is we. We write a letter. Similar, no change here. We, then the root form of the verb, the V1 form of the verb, that is write. And then third person, we have plural they. They write a letter every day. So once again, let us just revise this one. I write a letter. I, subject, first person singular, and the main verb is write here. So I write. It's a sentence. I write. Our letter is object, and everything is, you can drop out if you do not want it. So I write. Then you write. Then we write. They write. The only change comes here. Third person singulars. He, she, it writes. This is what you need to note. So this is simple present tense affirmative statements here. So remember, the children play every day. The children write every day. The children, plural. Plural is equal to which pronoun we use? They. So once now you know they means the people. The people shout at the top of their voice. Shout. But he, that is my friend, shouts. Jacqueline sings well. The dog barks every day at night. So you keep changing. This is what simple present tense affirmative that we are speaking about. Now we move on to the last part of today's class here. We go to simple present tense negative. So those sentences that we made as affirmative, how to make it negative? Because in everyday life, dear learners, we either make a statement, affirmative statement it could be, or negative statement. And then the coming classes we will see we also make affirmative questions. We ask questions both in the affirmative and negative. But today we are learning affirmative statements and negative statements, and how do we make negative statements in the simple present tense. So we start with here I, first person, that is I. I is always singular. Do not write a letter every day. So what did you see here? There is a do, and this do is auxiliary verb. It's a helping verb. So in the present tense, we have the auxiliary verb. Simple present tense, we have the auxiliary verb do or does. We will come to does later. So now do. And then you have to use the negative word, that is not. So I do not. Then we need to use the real main verb, that is write. So in the affirmative we saw I write a letter. Now here the negative form is I do not write a letter every day. So I write, I do not write. Now this do not could be contracted. So that the contracted form is don't. Do plus not is don't. So you could also say, I don't write a letter. I don't play every day. I don't study very well. I do not like to eat ice cream. So these are the ways you make negative sentences. Coming to second person, that is you, either singular or plural. It's the same format. The format is same. Instead of I, you just use the subject you. You write becomes you do not or you don't write a letter. That's fine. Then comes the third person. See, in the affirmative, we had a problem. Not a problem, a special feature here, that is adding an S to the main verb. So here, when we make negative in the third person singulars, what we need to do is, we need to take that S and add to the auxiliary verb do. The auxiliary verb do. When we add an S to do, it becomes D-O-E-S. So that is does. So he, she, it. He does not. Okay, he does not. Now does not, the contracted form is doesn't. He doesn't. Now you see the fun or the difficulty here where people make lots of mistakes. The next word is write. So first we saw in the affirmative, he, she, it writes a letter. Now we cannot use in the negative writes. Why? Because we have taken that S from writes and added to do, and it already became does. So you cannot use that again, that S. That S is already removed from the main verb write. So it will be he or she or it, anyone you use, he, she, it does not write a letter. Don't say he does not write a letter, she does not write a letter. Wrong. They are wrong. The correct sentence form is he or she or it doesn't write a letter or does not write a letter. I hope it is clear to you. Coming to first person plural, we, and third person plural, they. It's the same. I, you, we, they. It's the same form. I write, I do not write. You write, you do not write. He, she, it writes, he, she, it does not write. We and they do not write. We write, they write, we do not write, we don't write, they don't write. So I hope this is clear. This is what tense, affirmative and negative sentences, how to frame such sentences in the simple present tense. And I am sure it is clear to all of you. Well, that's all for today's lesson. And if you found this lesson helpful, please like, share and subscribe to English and Beyond. And do not forget to tap the bell icon so you will never miss our next English lesson. Until we meet again in the next video, keep learning, keep practicing, and keep growing with English and Beyond. Thank you for watching and take care.